kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life goes lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
There's only one track on the ThunderClap schedule that gets run twice, although it seems as though it's only run once. We're back here for the second time at Bristol Motor Speedway, but this time we are on the dirt. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening here tonight. Alongside me, my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso. Tony, you guys saw a great race last week at Las Vegas for the Spin City 250. Tonight we go dirt racing here at Bristol, and the final go-around for the 3 Series cars before we hit the playoffs. This is a big, big race for these guys.
And this is a big, big race, and the fact that it's the first time you and I have ever actually called a dirt race together.
False.
No? True?
No, Rowdy last season before I had moved back to California.
Were you actually there for that one? Okay.
I was there for that one.
I stand corrected.
Yep, you do. And on live YouTube. I guess I was going to say live television, but that wouldn't
I admit to that, though.
So it's going
Make
to be...
a mistake. I own the mistake. I am the mistake.
There you go.
Ask my mom.
So, all right. So, you messed me up with that. So, a night race here at Bristol. It is going to be a very fun race, night racing on the dirt, in the trucks. It's going to be quite an interesting night, and one that we're not used to seeing here from Bristol.
It absolutely is, because you're going to see a couple different lines start to form up. This track is notorious for going dry slick in the middle, and that cushion up on the top side is going to get pushed closer and closer to the wall. Great view down the back straightaways. You can really see where that's going dry slick. All that dark, shiny dirt, it's slicker than wintertime up in upstate New York on that. The grip is going to be where you've got the slightly darker dirt up towards the wall. That's where your high grip levels are going to be, but they're going to be searching for moisture all night long. And the good news is they are going to get the track reworked after each one of the sessions.
Yep, so it'll be a nice fresh outing for all of these guys. Now we are going to run a different format here tonight, so we do have it's not just going to be a straight race. There is going to be a format. We have 26 drivers here. One of these guys for the moment is not going to be making the actual race, the main event race. We will have two 25-lap heats with 10 drivers each, the top 5 making it to the feature. We will also have the rest of the drivers that did not make it in through the heats. They will run in a 35-lap last chance qualifier to solidify the field for the main feature race. Again, we have 26 drivers right now. It is going to be a 25-car main event. So right now, only one driver would be missing out here. Not much of a surprise. This is a very difficult race for some of these guys, deciding maybe this is going to be their bogey week.
Yeah, and rightfully so. And Frank, you got to get used to that, because this is the second time, or the first time of 2 this week, that we are going to see qualifying heats, a consolation race, and then the A feature with the ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series.
Yep, absolutely. We'll take a look now at the point standings coming out of Las Vegas. These are the overall point standings. Nothing much changing in the top 4. Steven Sharik makes a big jump up to 5th position in points. Seth Gadjadoris also making a pretty solid jump up 6 into 18th. But the field is looking pretty well set where they are going into the chase, going into the playoffs, I should say, in the next 3 weeks.
Absolutely. And we've got some movement that can be made still. But I find it amazing with these guys that we're going to be crowning 4 champions. Possibly up to 4 drivers can win a championship this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll take a look right now here at the current Truck Series Championship. These point standings are as of Gateway 3 weeks ago. Mark McCrary currently leading the Truck Series Championship at 184 points, 22 points clear of Ryan Truex, who at quick glance is not here this evening. Roger Diebold is right there as well, who again at quick glance I do not believe is here this evening. Ryan Zunk there as well. Cole Gadgedoris up in the top 5 in the Truck Series points as well. And these point standings, I should say, a lot closer, having only 14 races in the championship.
Very much so, but like you said, this is the final go through of the rotation for the cars, and I can't think of a better place to do it than the last great Coliseum with dirt spread all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be one heck of a night, and we'll get you down to the track here as we do have an extra bit of practice here. These guys were given an extra 10 minutes of practice, so we'll take you through the final 8 minutes of this practice session here. Not many guys out on track right now. We're seeing Chase Leahy, who I'm sure is streaming over on Twitch with that car.
You think?
It would behoove of him.
Yeah.
Especially now that we've got a little bit of a chance to actually promote the Twitch stream.
Absolutely. You can get his in-car footage from tonight if you want to open a new tab and watch along.
He has...
And hear all the fun things that are said in the in-sim broadcast that we can't broadcast.
Chase Leahy has done, this will be lap number 78 for him as he comes through 3 and 4 right now. He, however, is by no means done the most laps. Mark McCrary has done 93. He's about to cross the line to finish lap 93 of this practice session. Ryan Zunk has done 108 laps. However, Anthony Burleson is the man who has done the most laps. He's about to complete lap 113, so he's about 5 laps short, about 10 laps short of the race distance here tonight just in practice.
Now, this is very weird. Why is it in the overlay that I've got up on, or punched into SDK currently, in Sim it shows up as Anthony Burleson. In my live timing scoring, it says it's Bo Condon.
Because I have edited it. Bo Condon is here. He will be here. He is in the 25. There's Michael Grant in the 904. I will say that I have refreshed Trading Paints multiple times, and for some reason it still seems to be a little bit delayed on updating some of these paints, so I do apologize if some of them are not coming in the way they should be. Ryan Zunk on track in the Sweet Tarts number 23 Toyota Tundra, completing lap 110 of this practice session for him. Jump on board and take a look and see just what these guys are going to be dealing with here tonight.
And you can see how just dry slick this track has gone just in the first 112 laps of practice. They are going to be searching for moisture in this dirt all night to try to get grip with those tires.
Yeah, and again, this is all... I don't think I have the right thing in. These guys, it would very much behoove of them to get out on track now, seeing as though this is, if they plan on making the main race, the main feature, this is how the track is going to be for the feature. So you may as well get out on track now and get used to how this is going to run. Maybe you could figure something out for a little bit later on.
That'd be the best way to look at it. And I just saw, we were talking about if Ryan Truex was here, he has shown up.
Oh, there you go. So now it'll be 2 cars that will not be making the feature race here tonight. Again, we'll be doing 25 laps heat races. After qualifying, the top 5 in those heat races make it to the main race. Then after that, everyone who didn't make it through the heat races will be going into a last chance qualifier where pretty much everyone except the last 2 will make it in from the last chance qualifier. So it's not just going to be a straight 125 lap race here tonight. We're going to have some. It's going to be an event this evening.
That it is. Every time we come to the last great Coliseum, it's always an event. A little bit made a little bit special tonight, as you did hear me allude to. This is the first of 2 this week that we're going to be running multiple races within races for the ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series. Be sure to join us this coming Sunday as they present the Case Cracker 200. Being as everybody kind of had to work last weekend in the real world, they're taking this weekend off, and they're going to have a good time. The race presented by Mothers Against Drunk Driving, by the way.
There you go, and we'll definitely have a lot more on the Case Cracker 200 a little bit later on. But right now, while we still have a couple of minutes left in this practice session, let's get one of our ad breaks out of the way. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back for qualifying here for the ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series. Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field worked its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, the rocket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Back here at Bristol Motor Speedway for qualifying now for the ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series. As qualifying getting set to tick on over. A couple of late entries to the race here tonight, so we should have a pretty nice little run of things here today, as it appears as though James Sharik will be one of the first drivers out on track. Bobby Grant, Steven Sharik on track as well.
Look at who just won the pony. Roger Diebold made it.
He is here. Right now, first on for a lap time is Bobby Grant in the number 14. And you can see, Tony, it's already just the change in the color and the look of this racetrack. This is where these guys are going to be able to run wherever they want. As Bobby Grant goes to the top, never mind, Cole Gadgedoris in the 89 goes to the top. Quickest in practice, quickest in qualifying thus far.
Very much so. Cole Gadgedoris has got his dirt program dialed as Jake Waltman jumps up to second quick. Ryan Truex going to slot in 7th. Got Famosa right now out on track, trying to crank one off that's going to actually count. And that's going to be the biggest trick in qualifying. You can't really get after it like you can in the heat races and bang it off the wall, because it'll negate your lap that quick.
There is Justin Clapper working his second lap right now. So our overlay goes a little haywire. Do apologize for that. Seems to be just a thing for SDK now to just have the overlay break.
But of course.
As Vince Burns on track, right around the same spot as Tommy Allen Jr., not that far behind on track at least, on the same lap. Vince Burns goes to 12th. Tommy Allen Jr., there he is, way up on that outside, up in 7th.
Hey.
At least for the start, and boy, he was really pushing it out of turn 2 there.
Yeah, Allen was flirting with disaster. And that truck looks about as stable as my X right now, but comes across the line. Does not improve on lap number 2. As a matter of fact, he did negate that lap. As Seth Gadgedoris looking to join family up towards the front. First lap for Seth's going to go 15th quick. As right now, Tyler Truex coming out on track. Mark McCrary also out on track. McConey out on track.
Gadgedoris coming through 3 and 4 right now. Crossing the line, just barely does, as Mark McCrary looked very solid and stable there on his second lap. His first lap was invalidated. We'll see what the second lap is good enough to do. Good enough to put him in 7th. As Tyler Truex in the number 69 on circuit. As Tony mentioned, Greg McConey also on track. These two crossing the line to begin their second lap around. Truex 7th, McConey 13th on the first laps. As Truex loses it coming out of 2, McConey pushing as hard as he can through 3 and 4. And McConey
just flirting with that wall coming off of 4.
Good enough to gain a little bit of time and goes up to 12th.
In the 12. So there you go. There's your CDO working.
Yep. J.D. Woodward on track right now. He's the only one on track. Michael Grant, Anthony Burleson, Alan Marshall, and Ryan Harrison, the only drivers that have not yet posted time or have not attempted to post time for tonight's race.
As you do. Just electing to not put the truck in grave danger. But anytime you can get seat time at a dirt track that's constantly changing, you take the seat time.
You can just tell how much he's having to, JD's having to fight this thing.
And around she goes.
Yep. Lap was good enough to put him in 15th, a 19.71 for Woodward on his first and only qualifying lap. So, again, only 2 drivers will not make it through 3 heats, 1 last chance qualifier, and the drivers who finish in the final 2 spots, we would assume at least that would be the case. Drivers who finish in the final 2 spots will not make it here this evening, as McConey trying to get a little bit of extra practice, and especially around Bristol, this is certainly a very good place to try to get that extra bit of practice.
Very much so. I mean, like I said, on a dirt track, anytime you can get seat time, you take it, because you're going to figure out through that seat time what the track is most likely to do later on in the event. And, that's knowledge you need to have, so you know where you need to move the truck. We're going to see that line move steadily closer to the outside retaining wall in the corners. It's not going to be a topside line right off the first hit, but it's going to steadily move north as the night wears on.
It will, and you can already see where the track is starting to really get worn in, especially on entry into these corners. The straightaways are going to take a little bit longer since you're not putting so much force through the car and so much force down into the racetrack in the straightaways, but through the corners, especially on corner entry, that's when you have the most load, the most pressure, the most turn in, and that's where it's going to wear down the most, the quickest at least.
And some tracks will even get pockmarked going into turns 1 and 3, because that's where you're loading up the tires the most, because you're on the brakes trying to get the truck to start to rotate, and you can really see some good craters form in some tracks. iRacing, I think, has done a good job at modeling the clay and how it actually worked here at Bristol. The fact that they were able to get those holes relatively patched when the real world dirt cars came here. So it's definitely interesting to see how the track holds up over the night. But
and Tony, if you want to just take a second real quick, we have 2 minutes and 30 seconds left here in this qualifying session as we're watching Greg McConey go around here. He's already done with his qualifying effort. He put it 12th, just trying to get a little bit of extra practice. Just from that dirt perspective that you have, that I'll be perfectly honest, I don't. What should McConey be trying to look for and try to work on here? So we see him
exactly
run
what
the
he
top.
just did.
Yep, we see him running the top, trying to keep the cushion and trying to work the slider line, as you put it.
He's running different lines to see how the truck is going to react through the corner. You've seen him on the top side. He's been farming the cushion. He went to the low side to try that slider line. That's how you're going to see passes done. You're going to enter low, bomb it in there, and then you're going to hear one of us do our best imitation of Dale Earnhardt Jr. yelling "slide job," as you try to come up the track and cut off the driver you're trying to make the pass on. And that's really how it's going to have to happen. You see him on the slider line again, comes up, bangs the cushion, gets the run off, and what you're hoping to do with that weird low entry, high exit is to disrupt anybody that's trying to run just the cushion. If you find somebody that can work the bottom all night, hats off to them for doing it, but that bottom line is going to go away. And you're going to have to practice hopefully they've gotten the practice in during the week to figure out what this track is going to do when it does go dry slick and you have to try to make a move on somebody. That slide job is going to put you a lot closer to the wall than you might be comfortable with, and there are going to be a lot of meatball flags that are going to need to be cleared tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be quite a fun and interesting night here. And for the dirt, it is dual pit roads. You don't have to go in at 2 and go all the way around, so you don't have to worry about that. Which means there really isn't a an apron here. You can go, if you think you can make it work, you can go all the way down to that inside wall to try to make a pass on corner exit. It's not recommended because anything can happen going back up onto the racetrack, but you certainly can go down there and make a move work, unlike when this track has the asphalt on it.
Frank, Mental Health Awareness Month was last week.
So we're getting set right now for heat number 1. It's going to be a 9-car heat. And right now we will show you the grid here for this first heat race. Cole Gadgedoris, who won the pole, will get the pole here for this first heat race. Bobby Grant will start outside of him in row number 1. Tyler Truex and Ryan Zunk will make up row 2. Steven Sharik and Vince Burns in row number 3. Seth Gadgedoris and Scott Formosa in row 4. Anthony Burleson will sit in row number 5. So that will be the
nine cars scheduled to roll off for heat race number 1. 25 laps, the scheduled distance. 5 transfer directly into the A. Everybody else is going into what we commonly could refer to as alphabet soup, but tonight just going to be a single consolation race.
Yep, so the last chance qualifier will be coming up here soon. We'll take a look at the weather here for the start of the night. Just past 8:20 p.m. in sim time. 59-degree track temperature, well, obviously, and a 64-degree ambient temperature. But one thing I think these guys are going to appreciate a little bit more, Tony, next to no wind here, just 2 miles an hour.
Well, it's the last great Coliseum for a reason. There's nowhere for wind to get in.
It can get in and swirl, though. We've seen that at like football stadiums, we'll say.
Yes,
This
it can.
This isn't much bigger than those.
You are correct. As a matter of fact, the University of Tennessee did play a home game here a couple seasons ago.
But that's where you see that the outlining for the football field and the infield when we get those overhead shots. That was it.
Yes, it absolutely was. And they brought in bleachers so people were actually seated on the track. But lights are out on the Chevy Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of iRacing. Cole Gadgedoris is going to have the button here for heat race number 1. And I don't believe restart zone rules are in effect tonight. Matter of fact, I'm pretty much positive of it.
Yeah,
because you can't see the walls.
It'd be quite a thing to try to catch them on that here this evening. But here we go. Getting set to go racing here. The first heat race of the night is green. Bobby Grant trying to hang it around the outside. Cole Gadgedoris, nice and calm on the inside. He will take the lead, at least for the moment.
You can see how dry slick the entry to 3 is already getting. As Gadgedoris working the bottom side, Grant jumps down to the bottom lane. Tyler Truex joining him up there as the 3 of them are starting a good breakaway. The battle right now rages on for the final transfer spot between Steven Sharik and Vince Burns as those guys are going after each other. Right now, Sharik has it, Burns wants it.
Those guys just made contact there with each other going into turn 1 a couple of laps ago.
And Sharik now goes after Ryan Zunk in the 23. Trying to make something happen. You can see that the different lines that we're going to see early on are not going to be there once this track starts to really slick off.
Yeah, again, it will certainly slick off here as we're about to start lap 5. It will slick off over the course of these heat races, but not nearly what you'll see a little bit later on as Ryan Zunk heads around the outside, or tries to head around the outside at least, of Steven Sharik for 4th.
Ryan had it. Steven now has it because Ryan Zunk did what we call jumping the cushion, where you see that dark, loamy stuff way up at the top. You put the right rear tire just on the edge of that, and you'll have gobs of grip. You put 2 tires over it, and you're going for a ride.
It's almost like getting pulled up Like think of if you just like dip a tire off the road, how it tends to pull you off of it just by doing that. It's kind of that's
Now
kind
imagine
of
that in a snowdrift.
Yeah, that's the sensation. Cole Gadgedoris has gotten away to the tune of about a second over Bobby Grant. On the other end, Seth Gadgedoris has not had a good run. He's battling with Anthony Burleson for the wooden spoon, as here comes Vince Burns on Ryan Zunk trying to take that fifth and final transfer spot. Way low on that inside there, got Vince Burns.
He did absolutely at that.
Left side damage, that was with the door-to-door contact with Steven Sharik. A couple of laps ago.
25 lap heat race here tonight. We are closing in quickly on the halfway mark. And it's Cole Gadgedoris, Bobby Grant, Tyler Truex, Steven Sharik, and Ryan Zunk currently all sit in transfer spots. Vince Burns doing everything he can except throw a hand grenade out the window at Zunk to try to reel him back in. Does have some breathing room over Scott Famoso, who sits in 7th. Seth Gadgedoris in 8th. Anthony Burleson, who did have connection issues in qualifying, that's why he did not lay a time down, sits in 9th right now.
Well, I got the graphics back working somewhat. So we still don't have the drivers circulating through the board.
Well, that's kind of normal on the dirt side of things, Frank, with SDK. Unfortunately.
Cole Gadgedoris, Bobby Grant running 1st and 2nd. Tyler Truex running 3rd. Steven Sharik in 4th. Ryan Zunk in 5th. Those are the transfer spots. Vince Burns, Scott Formosa, battling with Seth Gadgedoris now, and Anthony Burleson are on the outside looking in as we're seeing Formosa battling with Gadgedoris. This is for the 7th position.
And unfortunately, I don't think tonight is going to be a race that's going to count for Seth, as they do have a rule that you have to run either a ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series front banner or the Gander Mountain or
the stock
banner on the front. And unfortunately for Seth, not so much tonight.
Yeah, we have seen several drivers this season get dinged for that, as Bobby Grant's starting to make his way back up towards the front. Gap had gotten out to about 1.2 seconds. It is now down to a half a second as we work with 10 laps to go, make it 9 now coming into turn 1.
Gadgedoris have to chase it down the hill as he's still battling with Famosa, as that battle has now pittered out. Your biggest battle is between Cole Gadgedoris and Bobby Grant. That is your closest battle on track. Is Anthony Burleson now in danger of going a lap down?
See on our gyro cam here, is there you see how close those guys are getting. And you can hear the throttle control that these guys are needing, and now how far down Bobby Grant is having to go to just try to get some grip.
Absolutely, because that middle lane where Grant currently sits, it's starting to slick off on the entry of 1 and the entry of 3. There's still a little bit of traction on that lower side coming off of 2 and 4, but that is going to slick off here within the next, I dare say by the end of the next heat race. You're going to see shine all the way through that, what is considered the bottom lane just before the apron in the corners. You're going to see guys going down towards that wall more and more, or up towards the wall. The wall is not your enemy tonight, unless you get it very wrong.
And as far as this race goes, you are going to have to try to find some inventive ways to get through these corners as the race goes on, which means going way, way down low or way, way up high, as we're seeing Cole Gedgedoris trying to get around Scott Formosa. Formosa running in 10th. No positions have changed. Still Cole Gedgedoris, Bobby Grant, Tyler Truex, Steven Sharik, Ryan Zunk, your transfer position holders, and there's a pretty decent gap between all of those guys. There's Ryan Zunk, who's in the final transfer spot.
Popsicle sticks in the air for this heat race track.
Yes, they are. As again, apologize, still seeing a lot of issues with the overlay. Here is Cole Gedgedoris will now come to 2 laps to go. Again,
Grant gets one final shot at him as Vince Burns has closed in on Ryan Zunk with the white flag in the air.
yep, Vince Burns certainly has gotten quite close, but it does not look like he is going to do it. White flag is in the air right now for Cole Gedgedoris. And coming through 3 and 4, Cole Gedgedoris, the pole sitter, takes an uncontested win in heat number 1. He can now relax until we get to the final 125 lap main race.
We joined in that A feature with Bobby Grant, Tyler Truex, Steven Sharik, and Ryan Zunk hangs on for the final transfer spot out of heat race number 1. That means Vince Burns, Scott Formosa, Seth Gedgedoris, and Anthony Burleson all going to the Consi.
Yep, and now take a look really quick at the results here for heat number 1. If the graphics will allow, yes, they will. Cole Gedgedoris, Bobby Grant, Tyler Truex, Steven Sharik, Ryan Zunk, Vince Burns, Scott Formosa, Seth Gedgedoris, and Anthony Burleson. Your finishing order for the first heat. We will now go to the grid here for the second heat, as it'll be Jake Waltman on pole. Roger Diebold will start to his outside. Mark McCrary and Dustin Stallings will make up row 2. Chase Leahy and Robert Walton in row 3. Row 4 goes to James Sharik and Steven Liszczynski, with Ryan Harrison not setting a time in qualifying. He will start in 9th for this heat race.
9 trucks scheduled to roll off for the second of our triple 25s here to qualify for the A feature tonight.
It looks as though it's only going to be 8 because Harrison has not gotten here, and Liszczynski will start from the pits.
As you do. So 8 trucks scheduled to roll it here tonight.
And that now means only one driver who will be participating in the last chance qualifier will not be making it through to the final race, to the feature here tonight.
Oh no, they're in the session. They're just not on track.
Oh, Harrison is still here.
No, Harrison did just leave. Liszczynski
so there you
is here though.
No, yes,
so yeah.
no, I know. Yeah, Liszczynski's starting from pit road.
You are correct, sir. As the field worked its way through the 3-4 complex. Now, the way it normally works on the dirt side of things is you give a little bit of space to the pace truck, and the leader can normally fire off anytime between 3 and 4 to bring it back to green. That's normally how it works. I unfortunately was not able to ask that question to league management tonight. Is throw a blanket over your battle for third through the final transfer spot, as Diebold and Waltman they were starting to pull a gap, as now they're falling back into the clutches of McCrary and company, as right now Dustin Stallings currently in the final transfer spot. There you see him in the 5 as he is slugging it out with Chase Leahy on his top side.
Appears as though SDK is starting to play ball now, as Mark McCrary and Chase Leahy making contact, and that's not necessarily contact that they can control, by the way. It's with how wild and slippery these trucks can be. It's very difficult to not do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that battle for the final transfer spot hot and heavy right now. Stallings has it. Waltman and Sharik both want it. As Liszczynski finally does get released from pit road, though he is just about a lap down already.
Seeing visually, the track may not have gotten the work that we were expecting it to get. It might switch over from the last chance qualifier and then go to back to normal.
Well, that was what I was trying to tell you before we went on the air.
That's what I was told from before. So Robert Walton now gets that spot. So Walton in, Stallings out. Waltman in the race lead. Roger Diebold second. Chase Leahy third. Now they've got everything working again.
We just got word they are going to farm the track after this.
There you go.
So it's going to go back to what it was during qualifying, as still throw a blanket over that battle for the final transfer spot, as now Robert Walton has it. Stallings wants it back. And Sharik just trying to hang on right now as he's starting to lose a little bit of ground to those two trucks in front of him.
Sharik trying to search for a line right now that's going to work for him, as Stallings, they've found that line, and Stallings very nice line there through turns 1 and 2.
Just banging the cushion right now, and that's exactly what you need to do. He's got where the grip is. He knows where it's slick. And Stallings giving him all he can handle right now. Stallings, though, has got to figure something else out. He's going to have to throw it in more aggressively, go a little bit lower on corner entry, and let that truck just eat coming through the corner to get that slider line perfected. And, you know, it warmed my heart to see some guys practicing that during the hot lap session, and those who took extra laps after their qualifying. You know, you saw them practicing what that slider line is going to do and how they need to throw it. And I don't think Stallings was one of those guys that was practicing it. But right now, Walton able to use that top side, as here comes Stallings back to the inside. Stallings way down on the apron. Was not aggressive enough to make that slider line work, as we are halfway through this first heat race already. Waltman shows the way. Roger Diebold, Chase Leahy, Mark McCrary, Robert Walton, your current transfer positions, as Dustin Stallings now falling back into the clutches of James Sharik. Both of them on the outside looking in.
Stallings, boy, real big slide there as Steven Leszczynski a lap down after making some contact. Stallings just not getting it together, as James Sharik now able to work the outside. Leszczynski brings it back to pit road, so he, I would have to assume, is conceding this race and will try to make a better attempt in the LCQ. Not missing anything up front. Jake Waltman, big contact on the wall coming out of turn 4. But Waltman right now currently holds the race lead. Roger Diebold second, Chase Leahy third, not that far behind. Mark McCrary is 2.5 seconds off of these guys in the number 88, and then it's Robert Walton, who is a further 2.5 seconds off of McCrary.
As you do here on the dirt side of things, closest battle right now is going to be right around third. Chase Leahy and Roger Diebold going after each other.
Diebold getting a little bit loose coming out of turn 4. Same thing with Leahy. And as a dirt racing novice, I mean, we talk so much about, you know, it going dry slick and how that darker part of the racetrack is somewhere you definitely don't want to be. Dustin Stallings proved it a couple of laps ago. Once you go down there, the grip is gone. And again, as a dirt racing novice, it's quite alarming how quick that thing wants to swap ends on you once you get it down in that predicament.
Well, basically what you're doing is you're with that slick portion, that shiny portion of the track is basically turned as hard as concrete. Now, normally two things happen when that does take place, especially early in an event. You know, the tracks up here in upstate New York are notorious for doing that because we have such a high salt content in our water, and water is how you make grip on a dirt track. So by adding the water, you're going to dry the track out quicker. But generally, if a track goes dry slick early, it'll do what we call take on rubber. Unfortunately, iRacing doesn't have that modeled to perfection yet. And what I mean by take on rubber is that dry, slick concrete that's almost what you would see in a hockey rink under the ice, that slick of concrete that you could make a roller skating rink out of. If a track starts to take on rubber, it starts to become more asphalt-like, and then the grip level goes up. And if you've set your truck up for a dry, slick track, if it starts to take on rubber, you're out to lunch.
So a great example of what you were talking about before, taking that slider line. Chase Leahy threw it way down into turn 3, able to make the pass on Roger Diebold after Diebold had gotten into the wall in turns 1 and 2. So now Waltman, Leahy, Diebold, your top 3.
No real pressure right now for Robert Walton in the 66, as he has the final transfer spot, and you have to go 3.5 seconds in either direction to find his next closest competitor.
Yeah, Mark McCrary running in 4th by himself, just trying to log laps here at this point. He knows he's in the transfer spot, may as well keep it there.
White flag is out, or sorry, popsicle sticks in the air for Waltman.
See already how dark the entry to the corner is getting on the back straightaway as Waltman comes across the line to take the white flag. Waltman started on pole here for this heat race, and it looks as though he is going to waltz into a Heat 2 win, as coming through turns 3 and 4, here comes Jake Waltman for that Heat 2 win. He will advance.
Chase Leahy, Roger Diebold, Mark McCrary, and Robert Walton joined Jake Waltman in the A feature. James Sharik, Dustin Stallings, and Stephen Lachinsky all going to have to go to alphabet soup.
So there is your finishing order.
And Frank, you can see just how dry slick that track went in just 2 heat races, as they did farm the track in between heat races 2 and 3. And you can see the grip level is back for this next heat race.
We'll see it here in just a second. There are the results for the second heat race, as we will now take a look at the grid for heat race number 3. Ryan Truex will start on pole. Matt Garrett will start just to his outside in row number 1. Tommy Allen Jr. and Greg McConey will make up row number 2. J.D. Woodward and Justin Clapper in row 3. Bo Condon and Alan Marshall in row 4, with Michael Grant starting at the back for heat number 3.
And fortunately, Grant not out on track right now. He is still in the session, but not on track.
May have missed call for the heat. Something I'm sure is not too uncommon.
No. Driver could have gotten some bad barbecue, and unfortunately,
hit at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Ryan Truex going to have the button. And you can see just how much that grip level has come back. The dry slick is not a big factor for this heat race, but it will be for the next one.
Yeah, these guys have gotten very lucky as far as the track conditions are concerned. It is a brand new track that these guys will take on, and you could see a little bit of discoloration coming through the corner, coming into the entry of the corner, but you'll see that all night here tonight as we get set to go racing here. Ryan Truex, again, starting on the pole. Tyler Truex Racing, 1, 2, and 3 for this heat race.
And then Team Beer Money starting right behind those 3. Greg McConey and J.D. Woodward electing to team up.
Oh, is that officially a team now?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
They are officially a team now. Justin Clapper out on track. So the chief cook and bottle washer here of the ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series is going to running his heat race. Best of luck to everybody as green flag comes back out. McConey immediately puts the chrome more into Garrett to get him. J.D. Woodward spun the tires on the hit.
Yeah, that was a big, wild moment there for the 47 of Woodward. As boy, Matt Garrett really having to get that truck back into shape. There goes the 12. Clapper to the outside.
Clapper and Woodward got into it going through 3 that time. Woodward on the low side, Clapper up on the opening salvo of the cushion here, as that is a slugfest for the final transfer spot between those two.
Yep, Clapper
Woodward down on the apron.
Clapper in for the moment. I say for the moment because anything like that can happen. As he almost came right across the nose of the 47 of Woodward, as Woodward almost clips Alan Marshall in the 81. Now big contact between the two.
Banging fenders like a Saturday night short track, and Marshall not happy. He just took a shot at Woodward.
Yep, and there goes Woodward around. Caution is out.
He had help.
Yeah, he did. That was Bo Condon that was back there with him in the 25. Condon still stuck in that inside wall. And our first caution of the night is the wild J.D. Woodward. Just never had control of the truck and came right down across the 25. And again, just sitting there with nothing to do.
As you do.
Blown engine on Condon. So he is done.
Well, he's done for the heat. He's going to alphabet soup from now on. So that means that it's Clapper, Marshall, and Woodward that are currently sitting in the transfer spots. Tommy Allen Jr. back there as well, as he sits in 4th with the boss man right behind him.
It does say replay in the top left corner, but we are live. There we go.
We promise.
SDK really not playing ball tonight. So it will be Ryan Truex, Matt Garrett, your top 3, well, your top 2, as here we go again.
McConey throws it to the inside of Matt Garrett, going through 1 and 2. Slider line for the 12. McConey up into 2nd. Go ahead.
So you see some of the ability of these drivers that may change as the track wears out. More contact between the 12 and the 3. Trying to get off each other, but sometimes you just can't.
Well, it's good for the goose is good for the gander, and Garrett tried to throw the slide job back, but unfortunately ran out of room, as that battle for the final transfer spot is an absolute brawl right now.
J.D. Woodward getting into it again. Clapper and Allen are both in. These are the guys running currently in the 4th and 5th positions right now. So both these guys are in. Alan Marshall, as he makes a pass on the 47. Now Marshall, the first driver out.
As Clapper and Allen continue to go after each other for 4th. If they're not careful, they could take each other out of the contention and hand those transfer spots over to Marshall and Woodward. Halfway mark next time by. Ryan Truex showing the way. Greg McConey sitting right there, as well as Garrett and Clapper starting to go after each other again.
Truex has gotten away by 3 seconds on these two, by the way. So as McConey and Garrett battle, and so too do Justin Clapper and Tommy Allen Jr., leader is getting away. As McConey, now that battle seems to have sorted itself out, but here comes McConey. Well, Garrett, pardon me, trying to get back on McConey.
We're side by side for second and third, and we are side by side for fourth and fifth. Just a lot of separation between those two battles.
Garrett able to make the move to get into second. Solid move there for the three of Garrett.
McConey jammed on the binders to try to get that truck turned. McConey jumps the cushion coming through 3 and 4. That's going to let Garrett get some breathing room on him right now as McConey trying to rim ride to figure out what he's got to do. And right now, the grip level is there if you go under the slick stuff on corner entry. Where Garrett is running.
It's what I said before about having to find inventive ways to get around this racetrack, to be able to get out of that dark in the middle of the racetrack to try to find the lighter patches of dirt. You have to run this racetrack in a way that you never really have before, as this is a battle for the transfer spot here with 9 laps to go in the stage. J.D. Woodward coming back on Justin Clapper now. Clapper in, Woodward out.
As Clapper doing what he's got to do to try to hold Woodward behind him. And, you know, I'm looking at the strength of field for this heat right now. This is actually one of the strongest top-to-bottom heats that we've seen yet tonight, with everybody north of 1,300 for an I rating. And, you know, there were a couple of triple-digit I ratings. So there are still some guys here that they don't have a lot of dirt track experience.
7 laps to go. It may not be showing positions, but the lap counter is correct. 7 laps to go. For that man, Ryan Truex, who running that bottom, holding steady down on that bottom line, but he's holding it down there. Not too much drama, not kicking the back end of the truck out. Pretty much he has the back bumper, the right rear corner of that car pretty much on where the apron would be on the regular oval here.
You know, unlike with the pavement version of this track, if you stand in the middle of either end of this track and go to look at the turn, you're actually looking up at someone on the apron.
Yeah.
As opposed to looking directly into their window, you're actually having to look up at them. And it's a weird feeling the first couple of times you do it.
Tommy Allen Jr. getting close now to Greg McConey in the number 12.
And all that's going to mean is moving one row up in the A feature, so Allen would love nothing more than to make his own job a little bit easier once it gets to A feature time. But McConey running a line that Allen cannot compete against, really, as we are currently popsicle sticks in the air. Ryan Truex just has 2 more rotations around this place, as that battle for third hot and heavy right now. Everybody else in safely.
White flag in the air. Truex now having to try to negotiate around Alan Marshall. Doesn't need to, as J.D. Woodward stuffs it into the fence on the back straightaway. Rounding turns 3 and 4, it will be Ryan Truex taking stage number 3, or heat number 3. And a nice starting spot for the A main. Greg McConey, Tommy Allen Jr. coming home in 3rd and 4th. Justin Clapper crossing the line now. He will be the last one to get on through.
As they are going to farm the track in between heat number 3 and the consolation race.
Just saw it there. So the consolation race coming up right now. Here are the results for the for heat number 3. Truex, Garrett, McConey, Allen, and Clapper will not be participating in this race. They are already through to the main. Alan Marshall, J.D. Woodward, Bo Condon, and Michael Grant will have to participate in this race if they want to get into the race tonight. So the starting lineup for the last chance qualifier looks like this. Vince Burns will start on pole with James Sharik. Alan Marshall and Scott Formosa will make up row number 2. Dustin Stallings and J.D. Woodward in row 3. Seth Gadjadoris, Steven Liszczynski in row 4. Bo Condon and Anthony Burleson will make up row 5. Ryan Harrison and Michael Grant will line up in row number 6. However, they did not participate in their heat races, and we know Harrison is not here, so it would appear as though everyone running in this race will be in the will be in the feature.
No, we're sending one home. They just made the announcement. Top 9 to the feature.
So as long as you don't finish last, you're good to go.
So first one to whoop.
Vince Burns, James Sharik, again starting at the front, so the best opportunity for them. J.D. Woodward gets a new car. And also, Tony, worth noting, 35 laps here in the last chance qualifier instead of 25. So these guys have 10 more laps to negotiate the difficult conditions.
And this is going to give us a true showing of what these guys can expect once we get to A main, and they just said they are completely farming the track going into the warm-up.
So the warm-up session will come after this. We'll take a quick break after this session is done and do our normal pre-race routine prior to the main. So as long as you don't finish last, you are in the main feature here tonight. Coming through turns 3 and 4, about to begin the 35 lap last chance qualifier. Vince Burns will lead them off. Green flag in the air, 35 laps before we go racing for real here tonight.
Absolutely, is the 55 not getting the getaway he was hoping for, and just log jams behind him as they're looking to go 3 wide already for second. As these guys are picking him up and laying him down right now. That's Formosa on the top side, currently sitting in second. Throws the block on Woodward coming off of 4. Here comes Burns down on that low side, and he keeps putting those rear tires into the slick entry going into the corners. That's not going to work for you, sir.
No, it's not. And there you see him trying it again, running that line on entry. Through the corner, not bad. On entry, it's not going to work as he muscles the 80 of Scott Formosa out of the way. The 55 of Vince Burns appears to be next. Burns loses the back end of that truck. And now J.D. Woodward on the outside looking for that second spot.
Top side running for the 47 of Woodward as
What a gaggle this is.
Vince Burns continues to use that bottom feeder line, gets into the slick stuff going into 1, slides up and bangs the first cushion. As the battle is hot and heavy behind him, is Formosa going after Marshall.
Marshall behind, trying to hold off Dustin Stallings in the 5. Also Steven Liszczynski in the 99. Liszczynski did not elect the pit start here this go-around.
Learned from his mistake in the heat race.
Yes, it would appear so. Right now, Bo Condon would be the one that will not be participating in the race here this evening. Currently 5 seconds back off of this group that contains the rest of the cars in this race.
And Bo admittedly has told us he's not a dirt racer before this race went live.
Contact. Around goes the 4 of Seth Gadjadoris into the fence. On the inside line, caution does not come out. We stay green.
Interesting.
Well, that could be one way that Bo makes it in.
Seth begging for a caution right now, though.
And now he might get one as the 80 of Formosa and Stallings going around, and the caution will come out. Heavy, heavy contact for both the 80 and the 5. First, we'll go back and take a look at what happened with Seth Gadjadoris. There's Seth in the 4 on the bottom, the last car on the bottom. It's a little bit of a tail smack from Burleson. He goes around, and then this is going to be coming off of turn 2, the same corner. The 80 and the 5 on the outside. 80 to the middle, 5 tries to take the run, 5 sends him around, 80 smacks him across for his trouble.
Like both guys going into the boards in a hockey match.
Yep, it did. So James Sharik, right now your current leader. J.D. Woodward, Vince Burns, Alan Marshall, Steven Leszczynski. Right now, Seth Gadjidoris on track would be the one not making it if it stopped now.
And all he's got to do is play the waiting game and try to make something happen on Bo Condon in the 25. We're only sending one of the guys that are on track right now home. And it looks like the leader is electing to get lane choice. And Sharik electing to take the top side.
Sharik does get that high line. With how aggressive J.D. Woodward has been, I'm not sure how wise that is. But I'm sure Sharik is expecting and is hoping to be well clear of that 47 going into turn 1 next time around.
Absolutely, is he does have where the grip is currently as his lane jumps on the trigger, and we are back underway. And J.D. Woodward right away under pressure from Alan Marshall.
And that was exactly the start that Sharik wanted. Got clear of the 47. However, Woodward with a very good run on that inside line. Vince Burns getting a little loose. The 47 of J.D. Woodward out to the front.
Woodward threw that slider line, and Sharik had it well spotted, so he didn't have to really jump out of the throttle. As now Woodward shows the way. Sharik trying to reel him back in as Marshall and Burns going after each other for third. Steven Leszczynski safely into this field right now as Seth Gadjidoris has dispatched of Bo Condon. So Gadjidoris back in, Condon now on the outside looking in as the 55 of Burns gets all sorts of sideways coming off a 2, has to chase it down the track, and he's now under pressure from Steven Leszczynski in the 99.
The 81 of Alan Marshall showing a lot of competency here on the dirt circuit here at Bristol Motor Speedway. I've only seen him twice this year, finished 31st at Dover and 24th at Auto Club. The only other 2 races that he has participated in this season in that number 81, and looking very, very solid here and now.
Absolutely, is Burns still all sorts of sideways. And one thing of note, we talk about all the time that, a lot of these drivers have real-world jobs in the racing industry, and it's no different for Steven Leszczynski, as he's actually one of the wrenches for the Monster Jam World Tour. So instead of turning wrenches on a Craftsman Series truck, Gander Mountain Truck Series now, he turns them on monster trucks.
Having to turn the wheel on this truck right now. Quite a bit in order to keep it straight, as Vince Burns made a big save there all the way down to the inside wall. Certainly one way to use the wall around here to straighten yourself out.
Yeah, that he is now under heavy pressure. That is Anthony Burleson all over him right now. And then right behind him, it's Scott Famosa trying to reel some spots back in.
Burleson in the 79. Bo Condon not that far off of Seth Gadjidoris. Cole Gadjidoris, winner of heat number 1 if you're just joining us. We've run 3 heat races already here tonight. Cole Gadjidoris, the winner of heat race number 1. Jake Waltman, the winner of heat race number 2. Ryan Truex, winner of heat race 3. And now in the last chance qualifier, you just saw the race leader, J.D. Woodward, with a 2-second lead over James Sharik right now. Whoever finishes last in this heat will not make it into the final race.
And as of right now, with a 1.5-second deficit to try to make up, Bo Condon is going to be the first truck eliminated. So he's going to be scored in 25th starting position, when the points shake out.
Ryan Harrison and Michael Grant will start behind him. Both of those drivers ended up in the session here tonight, but did not participate in their heat races and have not participated in quite some time. During the practice session earlier on, as Dustin Stallings trying to find his way around Anthony Burleson on the inside line. Stallings showed a lot of competency during his heat race. However, once that middle line started to really slick over, had a lot of trouble controlling that truck.
That's the added twist to racing here on the dirt, is the track is going to be different every lap. You're not going to get 2 laps where you're going to be able to run an identical line. Unlike on the pavement side of things, if you've got your car set up for the top side, you're going to run the top side all night. If you've got it set up to run a lower lane, you're going to run that lower lane all night. You can't do that here on the dirt side of things. You've got to be looking for where the grip level is. If it's dark and shiny, stay the hell away from it. If it's dark with no shine whatsoever and looks loamy, that's where the grip is. It's that simple.
That's what you're seeing right now on board with Dustin Stallings as we watch him try to navigate this racetrack, and you can see that shine, that slicked over parts going into the corner, as Alan Marshall having a heck of a time controlling his Speed Kings truck right now, as he'll allow Steven Liszczynski around him in the 99. So Liszczynski up to third. JD Woodward still about 2.5 seconds clear as we're inside of 10 laps to go. I know the timer is not up. It has not been working all night. We'll try to get it working prior to the main feature race here tonight.
We're working lap 27 of 35. JD Woodward is now out to a 2.5 second lead over James Sharik, who's got a 1 3/4 second gap. Back to third place, Steven Liszczynski. You see Alan Marshall and Vince Burns. That is pretty much your closest battle on track for fourth right now. And then there's a 2-second gap back to Dustin Stallings in sixth. A lot of gaps to try to make up, which it can be very easy and very difficult at the same time to do here on the dirt side of things. But Frank, I gotta pick your brain. This being, one of your forays into dirt, and you don't have a lot of dirt experience. What are your thoughts so far?
It has been quite interesting. Again, we have done a cup race from here. It was about a year ago at this point, but it's been quite interesting to see some of the lines that these guys have been taking, and it also appears to be you have guys running the top, you have guys abandoning the middle line, which naturally it almost appears as though in the middle of the racetrack I'm seeing a lot of balled up dirt. It almost looks like a second cushion in the middle of the racetrack.
That's exactly what you're seeing. The guys that are running below that shiny stuff are pushing loam up into that shiny stuff, and they're actually starting a second cushion down there, and you can see it starting to form in the middle of the corners. So you can go low, bang the lower cushion, and not lose as much ground as you would if it was just dry slick all through.
It's almost like motocross, where you have multiple ruts going through corners, and it creates multiple lines for you, as we see Dustin Stallings trying to get around Alan Marshall to try to pick up one final spot. Now Stallings running in sixth, Marshall running in fifth. He'd love to get it, but with only a couple of circulations left here,
he does have it.
Yep, Stallings will get it. Running that inside line. White flag is in the air as JD Woodward slides up and into the four of Seth Gadjadoris. We've seen 3 winners already tonight. It appears as though the fourth one will be that number 47 of JD Woodward crossing the line. Woodward will win the last chance qualifier here from Bristol. And that will set up our 24 driver field as Stallings and Marshall getting into it, getting close with each other. Coming to the line, Marshall ends up taking the position back.
And they did just make it official. Bo Condon, unfortunately, getting sent home.
So there are the results for the last chance qualifier. We are in a 5-minute warm-up session. And with that, we will take a quick pause here. We will be right back. You are watching the ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series here from Bristol. We'll be back in just a moment. Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field worked its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, the wrecking! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Getting set to go. We are just moments away here from the start of the main feature race here tonight. But before we do that, let's go, as we do every week, to Terry Adams with the national anthem. Thank you very much to Terry Adams for that national anthem, as we do every single week here with the ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series. Let's go now to the grid here for the start of the Dirt Derby here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Cole Gadjadoris, the pole winner and winner of heat race number 1, will start on the pole. Jake Waltman will make up row number 1. Ryan Truex, Bobby Grant, Chase Leahy, Matt Garrett, Tyler Truex, Roger DeBold, Greg McConey, Steven Sharik, the top 5 rows. Here tonight, Mark McCrary and Tommy Allen Jr., Ryan Zunk, Robert Walton, Justin Clapper, J.D. Woodward, James Sharik, and Steven Liszczynski will make up row 9. Row 10 goes to Vince Burns and Alan Marshall, Dustin Stallings, Anthony Burleson in row number 11. Row 12 goes to Scott Formosa and Seth Gadjadoris. So, Tony, we have 125 laps to get through here tonight. It's going to be the longest run that these guys have done, and it's going to be the most broken up racetrack these guys will have had to face since practice. It's going to be a wild night here at Bristol.
Absolutely, but ladies and gentlemen, you wanted the best, you've got the best. The beast from the southeast, the ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series Dirt Derby at Bristol. As the field works its way into the 3-4 complex, pace car going to pick up a little bit of pace. Jake Waltman Cole Gadjadoris going to have the button. The only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor to adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn and some barbecue. It's time to get it on at the Coliseum. Race fans, it's showtime.
Cole Gadjadoris takes the early race lead. Waltman with Truex to the inside of him. Ryan Truex, contact between the 14 and the 06. Both of them keep it straight.
The 06 of Waltman working the outside of Truex right now. Truex searching for grip on the low side. Here comes the 14 of Bobby Grant. 3 wide coming off a 2. Still side by side, the top lane of Waltman. Able to hang on. Truex, Grant, Leahy rounding out your top 5 as they currently sit.
There's Leahy on that outside in the 34. The 3 of Matt Garrett moves into the 5th spot. Roger DeBold there as well. Worth noting, by the way, the 3 heat winners, if you're just joining us now, the 3 heat winners started in the first 3 positions. Gadjadoris, Waltman, and Truex. The last chance qualifier winner was the first car that was not advanced through the heats. So that would be J.D. Woodward would have started in 16th position since he did not advance through the heats. He won the last chance qualifier, started in the 16th spot.
Currently sitting in 13th is Woodward. That's James Sharik right behind him. And that is a log jam back there. As back up towards the front, that is DeBold and Leahy going after each other. 4th-6th position. DeBold has it. Leahy into the wall after jumping the cushion. That's going to open the door for Greg McConey to get to his back bumper.
Yep, and that is certainly going to slow him down. Not sure why that happened there. As Cole Gadjadoris still holding on. There is Tommy Allen getting into the fence coming out of turn 2. Turn 2 has been the corner tonight.
That was 4.
That was
under the. He hit the flag stand.
Oh, there you go.
As McConey gets by Leahy battles back on the top side. McConey bottom feeder line right now, and you can see that second cushion forming up as you've got guys running up towards the top of the track. You've got guys running down towards the lower lane of the track, and that's going to really open the door for Mark McCrary right now, as he's going to get a good run on Tommy Allen Jr. and wrestle as McCrary and Allen just going after each other right now.
That middle line that you're seeing as we're still watching this battle with Leahy, Greg McConey, and Steven Sharik now getting into the mix, that is a second cushion. That has not gone slick just yet. Tommy Allen Jr. Battling with Mark McCrary a little bit further back, even further still. James Sharik getting passed not only by J.D. Woodward, but by Justin Clapper as well in the 63 as Clapper and Woodward make contact with each other.
Who made contact with each other in the heat race as well, as that's going to open the door for Sharik to get a run on Clapper. Clapper now has to deal with the 47 and the 37, as the 63 of Clapper running that top lane, and he is sticking to the cushion right now, as here comes Ryan Zunk in the Sweet Tarts 23.
Ryan Zunk starting to move his way forward, fell back a little bit as Vince Burns. Now, Vince Burns, you'd have to figure guys in the last chance qualifier are going to have a little bit of an advantage here. They were just on track. Some of these guys, like Bobby Grant, Cole Gadgedoris, these guys have been waiting for quite some time to get back out onto the racing surface, so it's an advantage maybe to make it to the last chance qualifier.
Clapper and Sharik just got together going into one, as Zunk's going to get to the inside of Clapper now. Sharik with a little bit of breathing room as Clapper battles with Zunk through 3 and 4. And here comes Lachinsky as he's trying to reel in Zunk right now. That is one of your closest battles on track. Ryan Truax getting all he can handle right now from the 14 of Bobby Grant up towards the front, as that battle starting to lighten up just a little bit, as Robert Walton going after Stephen Lachinsky back for 16th.
Matt Garrett in the 3 has had some sort of problem, as there is Garrett on the inside line, nose busted up for that number 3, and he's puffing smoke out the back of that truck. He's blown the engine.
Well, it hasn't completely gone away yet, but yeah, he's not long for this race, as that truck, there it goes.
Yep, there he goes.
A little bit of puff, and poof goes the dynamite.
Take a look at Matt Garrett, see what happened to him. This is coming through, it would appear would be 1 and 2. Oh, the 4 had gotten into the wall in front of him.
And we've got a new leader.
Going back to live pictures here, as Jake Waltman has gotten around Cole Gadgedoris. First time Cole Gadgedoris has been behind somebody this entire night. Fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, won Heat 1 uncontested, and now sits second place here in the main.
Now, the biggest thing that you've got to be asking is, did my team get enough tear-offs on my windshield for tonight?
That will certainly be one of the things that these guys will be hoping for, as Bobby Grant looking to the inside of Ryan Truex. Now, this is the first time we've really seen Bobby Grant get up on the wheel here this season, having a great run right now.
Your leaders have already lapped up to 18th. That is Dustin Stallings right in front of Jake Waltman, as Waltman was thinking about taking it 3 wide, thought better of it as Alan Marshall was coming off the cushion there, as he now splits those two that are battling for position. That's Zunk on the, that's Marshall on the low side, Stallings on the low side, and
it's close there as Marshall falls back through the middle. Cole Gadgedoris with a little left side damage. Ryan Truex now having a bit of a time trying to get around the 81 of Marshall.
Throws the slider line on Marshall, but still has to deal with Bobby Grant, who now has to deal with Dustin Stallings. Stallings trying to hang on right now. He's in the free pass position should a caution come out, as Truex gets by. Now Grant gets by, and we are under caution.
Yes, we
Greg
are.
McCrary's around.
There is the 12 of McConey cycling his way back forward again.
Boy, Anthony Burleson gets it wrong in front of him and stuffs McConey into the wall. And there is your boy.
Seeing the replay now is, yep, that was Burleson. Leahy gave him a little side shot. Fortunately, it was kind of a reverse T-bone. The side of that 34 getting into the front.
Reverse what?
The back of McConey. Well, you know, the T-bone accident, it's the front.
That's not what I thought you said.
No.
Okay. I'm good.
Usually it's the car going forward that hits the car on the side. Now this time it was the car on the side getting hit on the side to hit the car going forward.
Yep. Not what I thought you said.
Well, you've known me long enough. Why would I say anything different?
That's why I asked.
So we are now just a couple of laps away from completing this first stage. We have 6 laps to go, crossing the line here in this first stage. Stage breaks, again, for those of you just joining us, are laps 30 and 65 here this evening, and you will have to pit for fuel at some point here tonight. So pit stops will be a thing here this evening.
And that's the one thing that I'm glad iRacing has done, is allowed pit stops to be a thing. As for the longest time on the dirt side of things, you could change tires, but you could not refuel the vehicle.
Worth noting, Tyler Truex did not start this race. Only 23 drivers took to the track to begin this feature race, as Jake Waltman has elected the outside line. There he goes. We're back to green flag racing, and Bobby Grant is going to take full advantage on the outside of that 89, as Gadgedoris can't quite
Struggling on the low side. Gadgedoris was struggling on that low side, as you know, that was a good idea for Waltman to put him down there, and now Gadgedoris under heavy pressure from Ryan Truex, as Truex has the nose out front, going into one, rim riding, and Gadgedoris is still in the slick stuff. He's got to be careful because Roger Diebold is on the move right now.
It's quite interesting. These guys are running this race, I think, a little bit backwards from what you would think, and I think that's where the smarts and the brains of a race car driver comes in. Is you want to be on the outside line. You want to have the high line to where you're able to keep the momentum up and keep the car going. So what these guys have done is they've worn out the very bottom, taking away the lane that they didn't want to run early to be able to use the lane that they want to run later in the race.
You can see that there is what's starting to form as a second cushion, as we saw in the Consi. You know, the top side of the track has not really been beat to crap yet, but it'll get there, trust me.
That bottom line, though, like you see where Roger Diebold is right now, that's the lowest we've seen it get rubbered out so far, and in 3 and 4, it's even more obvious. That bottom line looks to be completely shot. Meanwhile, there's still a good car length. If you turn the car sideways, a good car length of cushion still left in these corners, as Jake Waltman takes and wins stage number 1 here in the Dirt Derby at Bristol.
Waltman, Grant, Truex, Cole Gadgedoris, Leahy, Diebold, Allen, Woodward, Steven Sharik, and Greg McConey all getting all-important bonus points for that stage.
For Jake Waltman, it is his series-leading 7th stage win of the season. The next drivers that are close, and I say drivers because there are 2 tied with 5, that would be Thomas Aaron in the 93, who's not here, and Roger Diebold. Both of them have 5.
And this is the first race that Aaron has missed.
In a
And
while.
you take,
There's been a couple that he hasn't been here.
But, I mean, if you take a look at the drivers that are up there in the point standings right now, Waltman has missed a week. Ryan Truex has missed a week. Roger Diebold has missed a week here and there. So, you know, kind of like a bowling league on a Wednesday night, except it's sim racing. And it looks like everybody coming down pit road. No.
Waltman does come down pit road.
Waltman, Gadgedoris, Diebold all come down pit road. Everybody else staying out.
So the strategies are aplenty here. Now, Tony, as you had mentioned while we were doing the anthem and the preview video for this race, there will be 3 drivers that are pitting on the back straightaway, and those 3 drivers will have been the bottom 3 from the from the last chance qualifier.
So that'll be Dustin Stallings, Anthony Burleson, Anthony Burleson, Scott Famosa, and Seth Gadjadoris.
Yes, so those are the three that will be pitting on the back straightaway. So right now, the new running order will be Bobby Grant, Ryan Truex, Chase Leahy, Tommy Allen, and J.D. Woodward, the top five. Woodward again started in 16th. And he has been quite the aggressive little Dickens here this evening, has J.D. Woodward.
Too many syllables, but yes, yeah, I get the idea. But yeah, JD has been very aggressive here tonight, and you kind of have to be on the dirt side of things. You can't lollygag around and wait for an opening to appear. You've got to go. If you see a hole, whether you think you can actually get it through there cleanly or not, you've got to go for it if you're going to have any shot at finishing towards the front here tonight.
He's gotten there again, finished.
The dirt side of things really goes to those who are aggressive and go to take things. As Grant electing to take the outside lane, he's going to have Tommy Allen Jr. to his back bumper when we go back to green.
Yeah, but it's kind of been the modus operandi here for these guys tonight. Has been to keep their opponent down on the bottom as much as they can. Get yourself the clean line on the restart, which is exactly what these guys are doing. Bobby Grant now will look to restart this race. There we go. Ryan Truex gets a good start there, better than from what most people we've seen starting on the inside of the front row here tonight. Tommy Allen gets to the inside, and we've got a mess here in the middle of the field.
Absolutely. As Chase Leahy was getting kind of sideways there, and Steven Sharik and J.D. Woodward going after him hard and heavy right now. And Justin Clapper trying to make some headway as he's got James Sharik to his inside as they go through 1 and 2. They are beating and banging around fifth.
Absolutely. Justin Clapper and J.D. Woodward running their heat race together, so they have a little bit of history with each other as Clapper ushers the 47 aside. 37 there as well as the caution comes out. It looks like Steven Leszczynski has gone around. He has.
He absolutely has.
40-year-old out of Paxton, Illinois. Has not had a good night here at Bristol.
He had help.
So I'm sure he did. There's Greg McConey there, Roger Diebold there. Contact with Cole Gadjadoris. Around goes Alan Marshall, and up and over goes Leszczynski.
Oy.
It's a hard old hit that he took.
I know what's going on with the overlay. Sorry. Okay. There, that should fix your problems.
Take a ride on board with Leszczynski here. Hits the pit commitment cone, has no idea Alan Marshall's coming. And up and over you go.
Boot to the head.
And from on board of Alan Marshall, this is already, he's already happened. Let's go back to it here. Alan Marshall already having issues. This is coming out of turn 2. Gets a little bit of contact from the side. Never got the truck straightened up again. And with how high you have to ride these trucks in order to get them to work the way you want to around here and to have that roll kind of like a late model dirt car, how that left side hikes up as it's going through the corner. Same thing with these trucks, how you want to have these trucks set up. That's why it was so easy to get that 99 to roll up and over.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I can understand why it was done the way it was done, but truck arm suspension, coilover shocks, and a straight Panhard bar does not make for very fun times for the mechanics trying to set these trucks up.
Absolutely not.
You know, 3 links, 4 links, and a J-bar to center the axle. is really the more advantageous way to go, as Clapper was working on the backside of the 24 of Tommy Allen, now falling back into the clutches of J.D. Woodward, who is all over his tailgate coming through 3 and 4, and that is an angry pack of wolves behind them.
It absolutely is. As we look a little bit further back, Jake Waltman in that group. So is Cole Gadjadoris. Waltman, the winner of Stage 1 and the winner of Heat 2. As around goes the 38 of the 83 of Steven Sharik. No caution.
Green.
And still right in this pack. Waltman there, Stallings there, Gadjadoris there. Oh, and around goes Waltman. Off the front of the 40, off the front of the 55.
And what it looks like is if they got a single car spin, they're not throwing the yellow.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Good luck, kid. It's Bobby Grant now reeling in the 3 in front of him. That is Matt Garrett, who's already 1 lap down, getting ready to go a 2nd lap down, as the leaders have already caught him. Garrett not having a good time of it tonight.
Seth Gadjadoris still in the pits, has been for the better part of 11 minutes now, trying to get his number 4 repaired. And that little force, that little forcing to switch lanes almost got the 56 of Ryan Truex around Bobby Grant. But a big slide up to the top line. Look at Chase Leahy slide his way through in 1 and 2.
Absolutely. Is the top 3 have a monster gap of a 1.5 back to the 24 of Tommy Allen in 4th right now. He's got a 2nd to the good over J.D. Woodward. And then in the mid-pack, we are hot and heavy right now. But, Frank, in the heat races, I mentioned that the strength of field thing, and most of the racers were north of 1,300.
Yeah, not anymore, I would assume.
Your race leader, Bobby Grant, you want to take a guess what his iRating is?
I could cheat, but I'm not going to. I'll say around 23.
825.
Oh, there you go.
And what that tells me is Bobby Grant runs in a dirt league at some point during the week.
Yeah, he's the strength of field, and speaking of iRating, that only counts towards official races. So you can only boost your iRating or your safety rating if you run official races. However, if you're a guy like Bobby Grant, who probably runs a lot of dirt hosted or runs a dirt league, and you kind of hide how good you are on dirt from official, you'll get these what appear to be outperforming, punching over your weight class, I should say. Absolutely.
As Cole Gadjadoris and Justin Clapper were going after each other, that opens the door for Mark McCrary to get in there, as Clapper now goes after McCrary, as McCrary threw a slider when Clapper jumped the cushion.
Not that far away from the stage break here either. 12 laps to go when we hit the line before the stage, as Clapper has to correct right into the wall on the back straightaway. That allows James Sharik and Robert Walton to go through. However, Clapper has gotten back on Walton.
Gotten back on Waltman, and Waltman now under, as Clapper clatters the wall off of 2 again, and here comes McConey in the Purdue Boilermaker number 12. Good head of steam from McConey, gets down into that slick stuff. If he's going to make anything happen, he's going to have to make it happen quick. As you can see, that bottom line is all sorts of shiny, and you want to avoid it like the plague.
That's what I was talking about earlier on at the end of stage 1. They've worn out that bottom line, the line that you don't really want to use, as the 66 and 55 make contact down the back straightaway. Vince Burns gets thrown back up into the racing line, and that's what will cause the caution.
That started a whole lap sooner, as they were trying to take evasive action to get off of Justin Clappers. The 55 gets into the 66. Diebold makes his way around, bangs the nose of the 66 down into the 55, and around they both go.
And you see the 55 get shot back out into the racing line. That was the reason they called the caution there. Even though he was straight and appeared to be at pace, better safe than sorry.
And Alan Marshall was coming and almost ran him flat over.
Jake Waltman coming back down pit road. Robert Walton coming down pit road as well. And for the guys that have not pit, I would have to assume that the pit stop that they will be making will be at this stage break.
And they have just shortened this caution. So we are going to try to get a green-white checker finish for the stage.
Stage will be at lap 65, so there's still a little bit of distance to go, but a nice long run would still be nice. Well, as long a run as you can get to the stage break obviously would be more advantageous.
Even Sharik getting the free pass to get back on the lead lap.
So that will put 17 cars on the lead lap right now. Jake Waltman in there's 19 on the lead lap. Scott Formosa, the first driver, not on the lead lap.
So Formosa should get the free pass, provided he stays out of trouble between now and the green and white checker.
Should be coming out in 6 laps time here, as Bobby Grant
Here we go.
gets the start. 6 laps to go to the end of the stage.
As that is an angry gaggle of wolves right around Tommy Allen Jr., J.D. Woodward, and Cole Gadgedoris, all going after each other right now. Oh, hey.
Boy, Tommy Allen getting to the outside. Tommy Allen Jr. up into third. Chase Leahy correcting the car right in front of J.D. Woodward and Cole Gadgedoris.
That stacked up Woodward allowed Gadgedoris to get back alongside of the 47. They are still door to door as they go into 3. Woodward jumps the cushion. Gadgedoris gets into the slick stuff, throws the slider, and wrestles the spot away. Woodward starting to backslide. But Roger Diebold and Greg McConey starting to make some headway.
McConey starting to come back. He's up into 10th right now, started 9th here in this stage. Bobby Grant now one-on-one with Ryan Truex as these two have broken away by about 1.3 seconds. Bobby Grant looking for his first stage win of the season. Ryan Truex looking for his first stage win of the season since looking
Popsicle
back
sticks on the stage.
Truex looking for his first stage win since stage 2 at Auto Club.
Well then, that's a sticky wicket.
Yeah, that's quite a ways back you had to go to find that one. It would be stage win number 4
Here
for
we go.
Truex if he can come through. White flag in the air for the stage at least. As I'm not sure Truex is going to have enough to be able to make it as the caution of the stage break has come out.
Grant hangs on.
And Bobby Grant will win his first stage of the season.
Bobby Grant, Ryan Truex, Chase Leahy, Tommy Allen Jr., Cole Gadgedoris, Mark McCrary, J.D. Woodward, James Sharik, Roger Diebold, and Greg McConey getting the final point for the stage.
And with that, we will take a quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching the ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series from Bristol, the Dirt Derby here at Bristol. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, are you tired of your dog dragging in mud into your house? You got water laying in your yard? There's going to be a lot more water laying this spring. Now's the time to give us a call here at the office at 410-721-2342, and we'll be glad to take care of all your outdoor drainage needs.
Oh, you are not, you're not alone, no. Oh, you are not, you're not alone. You are not, you're not.
Thanks again, guys, for coming out for demo day here at Chaladon and just going over hip start and how it's going to improve your swing. Hip start is really a key factor in getting that proper downswing. The beauty of hip start is you can change your swing in less than an hour. Just put hip start on and you're going to notice a difference right away.
So before I was introduced to the hip start, my shots were kind of all over the place. Using the hip start, I definitely noticed more consistency and getting that great tactile feedback, knowing when the proper moment to snap your hits has really helped with getting my shot a lot more consistent. And I just feel more confident whenever I go out to the golf course with my friends.
Before you even grab a club out of your bag, we're using hip start.
Back for the start of the final stage here at Bristol. The Dirt Derby is back underway. Cole Gadjadoris takes the race lead after not pitting, same as Mark McCrary and James Sharik have not come down pit road under that stage break as mayhem happens behind them.
Absolutely. James Sharik has not been down pit road at all here tonight yet. Bobby Grant came down, as did J.D. Woodward, to get fuel only under that stage break. Cole Gadjadoris was down on 33 to get 2 tires. Mark McCrary took 4, and
we were guaranteed, by the way, that you will need to make a pit stop for fuel at some point. So James Sharik might not have put himself in the best position. Sure, he's in second right now. But one thing I've noticed, Tony, over the course of the last stage and how the track has calmed down, this track, that outside line has completely gone away, especially in turn 1. This track is almost completely rubbered over from top to bottom.
You've got to run what we jokingly refer to as the Larson line, because the first time they put the trucks on dirt at Eldora, Kyle Larson basically beat the rear bumper off the truck, running the cushion, which had moved up to the wall. That's pretty much where we're going to be by the time the checkers fly here tonight, as Truex all sorts of sideways going through 1 and 2.
Truex had a big slide on that rubbered over portion of racetrack.
It's not rubbered over. That's still dry and slicker than snot.
But yeah, that was more what I meant. Thank you for correcting me.
I'll tell you right now, a lot of these guys are wishing this track would take on rubber right now, because the grip level would start to come back where you see the shine.
I should be saying slicking, has slicked over, I should be saying. As Bobby Grant has also had an issue in the middle. Yes. He's fallen back now.
He was all sorts of sideways, coming off a 4 and hemorrhaged a couple of spots. Oh. Throws the Bold gives him the chrome horn.
Boy.
Right in front of him, though, that's Chase Leahy and James Sharik going after each other like a cat and a dog on a bad night.
Sharik on the bottom, Leahy on the top, essentially wall riding at this point to get around this place and try to keep some grip in the front end of that truck, or in the back end of that truck. The middle doesn't look too bad in 3 and 4, but turn 1, just take your guess as to where you need to go. Steven Sharik has gone around.
As J.D. Woodward pancakes the wall in the middle of 1 and 2, gets up into the slick stuff, that's going to let...
There's Woodward, the 47. Boy, he really blocked off that inside line. Around goes Bobby Grant in the 14. He's back up to second. Ryan Truex gets pushed into the wall by Chase Leahy, who couldn't control the truck coming out of 4.
Unbelievable. As Cole Gadjadoris is watching this all go on behind him, as he now has a 4.5-second lead over your current second place Bobby Grant. This is the final stage, so unless it's caution for incident, we're not going to see another yellow flag come out, as Sharik and Woodward just going after each other right now, and Sharik trying to find whatever moisture is left on the low side.
Talked about it before. Cole Gadjadoris, fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, winner of Heat 1. Started on pole for this race, got passed by the 06 of Waltman earlier on. It's the first time he was behind anybody. I think he's decided, you know what, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm going to get out in front here.
Chase Leahy just laid the chrome horn to J.D. Woodward going into 3, and then threw the slider line on him. Woodward looks back going into 1 and 2. They're 3 wide behind him as Leahy able to use the top side.
Almost 4 abreast, and the car at the back is the one that gets the best run, as that is the 38 of Roger Diebold, the championship, the overall championship leader coming into tonight.
He was 8 different kinds of sideways, had to chase it down the track coming off of 4. Bobby Grant looking at his rear mirror, he sees these guys coming, and he is not a happy camper. That is James Sharik that has Leahy working to his outside right now. Sharik running the ultra low side, bottom feeder line, as Leahy eats the wall in 1 and 2.
Leahy really threw it into that corner. So did J.D. Woodward behind. That'll allow Ryan Truex to get back up. Truex running that middle line in 3 and 4, and that's kind of where there's a little bit of grip. If you want to try the low side, top side in 1 and 2, just pushing that cushion a little bit further back and a little bit further back to try to find some grip. 3 and 4, you've got the middle a little bit higher than where Sharik is right now, pretty much exactly where Leahy was. Right there, as now we're getting into some lap traffic. Steven Sharik in the 83, Alan Marshall in the 81, Scott Formosa in the 80. Getting lapped now.
The 88 of McCrary going a lap down, as well as, we got beaten and banging around Ryan Truex for 5th.
Somehow Truex actually gains track position through all of that. Scott Formosa still battling with James Sharik. Again, that's not for position. Sharik running in 3rd. Gadget leading by 4.5 seconds over Bobby Grant in the 14. He has a 1.5 seconds over Sharik in the rest of the battle that we just saw.
He's starting to get a little bit calmed down by now, as we do have some breathing room finally. But Frank, we're getting to that point in the race where you just beat the right rear bedside off the truck and apologize to the boys in the body shop tomorrow by buying them lunch.
As if they haven't beaten the right side of the truck off already, is Chase Leahy trying to avoid losing position to Ryan Truex. Truex in the middle now, as it's the 88 of Mark McCrary. He is now the lucky dog recipient. If a caution were to come out right now, would the 88 be?
Truex running that middle lane. You can see it throws the slider line on Leahy. Leahy now under pressure from Diebold. And Diebold was seeing what Truex was doing, throwing the slider line on the low side. Diebold actually bottom side all the way around. That's going to let Truex get the run off of 4 as Diebold battles back on the bottom feeder line. Truex running the cushion now.
Who better to copycat off of than an actual professional driver?
Feel from the best, that's what I always say.
As Roger Diebold still can't quite get past. As we had mentioned at the top of the broadcast, this is the last time we will be running these trucks in the regular season. We are in the final rotation of all 3 of these cars. Tonight, the trucks. Next week will be the Xfinity Series at Homestead Miami Speedway, and we close out the regular season with the Cup cars at Richmond. So 3 more races to go. Well, now 2 after tonight. 2 more races to go until we hit the playoffs. It will go 1 round through each car in the playoffs before getting to the championship race at Texas on the 10th day of October in the Cup car.
Very much so, as Cole Gadget just continues to show the way. Now 5 seconds to the good as he is working his way around the very wounded. I have no idea who that is.
Waltman, the 66.
Okay, that's who I thought that was, but I couldn't get a good shot of it. So Walton, not a happy camper right now.
Ryan Truex has gotten around James Sharik for the 3rd position. Now again, Sharik has not pit during this race, or at least that our timing and scoring is showing. He has not come into pit here this evening. So it's almost a placeholder spot, it feels like, for James Sharik. He'll lose a couple of laps having to do this pit stop, but if he has not come into pit, and if our timing and scoring is correct, Scott Formosa in the 80 has not come into pit either.
No, he has.
Well, my timing and scoring is showing that he has not. James
Oh,
Sharik,
no,
at least,
you are right. You are right.
So we see Cole Gadjadoris getting around Alan Marshall in the 81.
The big battle right now is between teammates J.D. Woodward and Greg McConey. Beer money teammates were going after each other until Woodward jumped the cushion in 3 and 4, and that gave McConey a lot of breathing room now.
Dustin Stallings battling with Ryan Zunk. This is just outside the top 10. Zunk has 10th. Stallings wants it. This is one of the closer battles on track for position. Tommy Allen Jr. starting to fall back towards these guys. And for Tommy Allen Jr., opened up this season about as well as you possibly could have, winning at Daytona. Finished 4th at Talladega, but outside of the 2 super speedways, he finished 10th at Martinsville, 11th at Auto Club. Has only finished inside the top 15 one time. Other than that, that would have been at Las Vegas last week where he finished 14th.
Diebold has gotten by James Sharik for 4th.
Boy, Diebold had a big moment there.
Yes,
Had to really save the truck.
He still doesn't have it under control.
He's got to get it under control soon here because Greg McConey is coming up to him in that number 12. Battle for 5th about to begin here between Diebold and McConey. Boy, this track is torn up. My goodness.
You see all that sheen in the corners as it is like ice skating, even with grooved tires like they're running right now.
That was Vince Burns. Watch out. McConey hard into Vince Burns. Should bring out our first caution of the stage. It will.
McConey's out. He just blew the engine.
Yes, he did. We were riding on board with him there. We were trying to just show you what it's like for these guys on track, and ended up being in the right place at the right time, unfortunately. So we'll take a look at what happened here from a television camera perspective. Again, it starts up in front with Diebold and Burns. Burns loses the truck. And then McConey just has nowhere to go. See it again, Burns wiggling already in the middle of 1 and 2. Comes down, hits Diebold. And McConey has nowhere to go.
Vince Burns is not having a good night. Definitely safe to say he's not as comfortable as some of these other drivers on the dirt side of things. But McConey is... There it goes.
Yep, just heard it.
I think they heard that in the upper mezzanine.
McConey. What was a solid night for McConey is no more. He's battling for 5th and then just out of nowhere. He'll be lucky to finish on track at this point.
With as much racing as we have left, I don't think he's going to be able to do it, as we are inside 20 to go, and that team is going to have to replace that engine.
James Sharik must have either pit and it have not registered, or has done a worldly with the clutch, especially under these cautions here, because he has not come into pit, and it doesn't look like he will.
I mean, if he pit now, got 4 tires, he could probably make up some of that position back. And he's far enough down that, Gadjadoris, Grant, and Truax, he was not catching those guys. And I think that's probably why Sharik has faded back here in the closing laps. He's trying to salvage what he can, say, hey, I made it. But he's going to have to do yeoman's work here at the tail end to try to get that fuel tank to last.
right on board with Bobby Grant here for a second. Just look at the state of this racetrack. Now, if it was this dark on asphalt, you'd be like, oh, heck yeah, we got rubber, we got grip all over this place. But here, boy, this is a nightmare scenario for these guys.
Very much so. And here we go. Lights have gone out on the pace truck.
Almost looks wet, as if it's a wet racetrack.
It gives that deception, but the moisture is actually down where it's a medium tan.
No, meaning if it were an asphalt track, it looks as though it's a wet race or wet weather race.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. And that's about the grip level that they have right now in that section. Is it feels like it's wet asphalt.
Speaking of wet asphalt, wonder how many more updates, because we've got one more season of 2022 to go here in iRacing, and
I have heard rumors it's going to be the Christmas gift this year.
Yep, I was going to say, it's been rumored that this year we'll be getting rain in iRacing, and they've only got one more major update to put it in, so...
Matt Garrett has decided to put it on the hauler.
Fortunately for him, we saw him blow his engine earlier. And just finally said enough is enough. Robert Waltman will get a chance to gain a couple more positions as the green flag comes out with 15 laps to go. Cole Gadgedoris gets away nicely. Bobby Grant, however, now has to defend from Ryan Truex and does not do that nicely.
Grant got into the loamy stuff and was not able to lay the power down, as now Truex bangs the cushion. Here comes Diebold to the inside of Grant as well. Diebold using that ultra low line to try to get something run off of the corner. Feeder for the points leader.
You see just how little grip you have in the back end of these trucks down there in the slick stuff, as JD Woodward throws all caution to the wind. And I think with that, it will throw the caution into the wind.
It did, as they were wrecking behind him, too. They looked like Justin Clapper, and I didn't see who the other truck was.
There's Clapper in the 63. Boy, oh boy, that was mental there for a second. Let's take a look and see what happened here. This is first with JD Woodward, as he just, again, threw all caution to the wind and threw that truck in there. He has made no friends this evening.
How to Win Friends and Influence People by J.D. Woodward.
Yeah, he's... And then this is what happened that brought out the caution. This is with Justin Clapper and Jake Waltman. There's Clapper coming out of 2. And just, this is through 1 and 2. This is right behind, just, I think Waltman...
That was 3 and 4, sir.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Go to TV3. You can tell what
almost,
end of the
track
track
I was going to
what.
say, it's with the dirt, you can't really tell which end of the track is which.
Yeah, go to TV3, and you're going to be up in the actual mezzanine, and it's very easy to keep it straight because you're sitting above the flag stand.
Clapper getting into the side of Waltman. I think Waltman was just trying to react to the incident that was happening in front of him.
That's exactly what was going on. They saw that they both saw the trouble and locked it down to make sure that they weren't involved viciously in that. The bad news is, with both of them being involved, neither one of them are going to get the free pass.
And this has really helped the 14 of Bobby Grant, because he was thrown on the inside on that restart. Now it'll be Ryan Truex that's thrown to the inside on the restart. That'll give Bobby Grant the outside line, or pardon me, no, he'll be stuck on the inside, I'm sorry. Helps Roger Diebold, my bad.
Yes, it absolutely does help Roger Diebold, as Cole Gadgedoris going to lead us back to green, as the lights should be going out on the pace truck next time by, as we are currently sitting at 10 to go.
You can see this view that we have and just how little, it's almost a truck width of cushion left on the outside line.
You're going to have to beat the bedside off this truck to come home with a victory here tonight.
And in 3 and 4, there's even less.
It's about half a truck width up there going into 2. You can see what everybody's been doing is they've been squaring off the exit of 4 and, really trying to get the run down the straightaway, which can work. As the lights do go out on the pace truck, Cole Gadjador is going to lead us back to green. Ryan Truex, Roger DeBold, Bobby Grant, James Sharik, your top 5 as they currently sit.
That was Steven Sharik. We saw that black car coming back out onto the racetrack from pit road. So getting set to go for what we expect and hope to be the final time here tonight. 8 laps to go when we hit the line.
Pace truck picks up speed, peels on, off. Gadjadores has the button, rolls into it, gets it pointed straight, and we are back underway. And here comes DeBold to the top side on Truex going into 1.
DeBold, the overall championship leader in that number 38. Boy, Ryan Truex got a great start on the inside line. That's the best start that we've seen anyone get from that inside line tonight.
And apparently Cole Gadjadores is listening to what we've been saying as he just beat the right side bedside off of that truck through 3 and 4. As the battle for the final step of the podium, Grant and DeBold going side by side right now, working lap 119 of 125. Closing laps of this piece. Thank you so much for making us a part of your evening. And we are back under caution as Scott Famosa gets it wrong.
It's the 80 in 3 and 4. See what happened to bring out this caution with Formosa. Battling with Mark McCrary behind him. And something happened with Ryan Zunk that checked up the 66 of Waltman.
Zunk and Clapper got into each other. Formosa tried to get by it and just gets tagged by the Sweet Tarts 23.
There's Zunk. He got hit by Waltman, sending him down into Clapper, and then Zunk slowing everything up behind him.
Well, that's no bueno.
I would suggest not. I'm not sure if Waltman gets the wave around here.
Well, we're going to find out as we come to the... And there we go. Does get released. So, Cole Gadjadores, Ryan Truex, Bobby Grant, Roger DeBold, Chase Leahy, Tommy Allen Jr., J.D. Woodward, James Sharik, Dustin Stallings, who's your current biggest mover at plus 12, sitting in 9th. Ryan Zunk rounding out your top 10. Anthony Burleson and now Jake Waltman rounding out your lead lap trucks with 12. Justin Clapper currently sitting in the free pass position should another caution come out back in 13th.
Look a little bit further back in this field. James Sharik back down pit road. So is Robert Walton to repair crash damage. Greg McConey still in pit road, 9.5 minutes. Vince Burns in pit road, 11 minutes. Matt Garrett has called it an evening, and so has the 4 of Seth Gadjadores. Tyler Truex did not make the start here for this final race, and this will be our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish here at Bristol.
Lights should be going out on the pace truck this next time by. And here we go. Gadjadores electing to take the outside lane. Truex, a little bit of trepidation going to the inside on this restart. DeBold and Grant going to be restarting next to each other. As now DeBold is going to have the advantage, restarting in 4th with Gadjadores taking the outside lane. That is going to give a slight advantage to DeBold going into 1. The question is, what type of melee are we going to see? As everybody knows that this is going to be your final shot at anybody you're going to take a shot at.
Mark McCrary came into this race as the Truck Series points leader. He is down in 16th position. And unfortunately for him, that is as high as he can get tonight. He can go down to 17th He is on the same lap as the 81 of Alan Marshall, but Speed Kings has not had a good night. 15th, 16th, and 17th for the 3 Speed Kings entrants tonight.
Chalk this one up to experience as the lights are out on the pace truck. Cole Gadjador is going to lead us back to green. Pace truck starts to pick up a little bit of speed as they get into turn number 3. Now, the leader can fire anytime between the entrance of 3 and the exit of 4. Pace truck, though, not playing nicely as it starts to take the normal exit off pit road. There goes the pace truck, and here goes Gadjadoris as he gets a pointed straight, locks, cocks, and pulls the trigger.
Good start for Gadjadoris. Ryan Truex, though, with a big dive going into turn 1. He looks like he might lose out to Roger Diebold. Cole Gadjadoris with a great run coming out of turn 2.
Truex was in the slick stuff as the 14 of Grant jumps the cushion. That's going to let the Bold get to his inside as Truex works on the back bumper of Gadjadoris. White flag in the air one more time around.
What a run for Cole Gadjadoris. Has a lot of pressure from Ryan Truex. Truex is going to have to throw it in here in 3 and 4. Gadjadoris has the outside line. He's got the grip, and he's got his first win of the season. Cole Gadjadoris wins the Dirt Derby at Bristol.
Ryan Truex hanging on for second. Bobby Grant, Roger Diebold, and Chase Leahy rounding out your top 5. And there are a lot of unhappy drivers right now.
I'm sure there are. There was something that happened here just at the back end coming through 3 and 4. Steven Sharik, Ryan Truex, Robert Walton involved. There's the 81 and 83 making contact. That's going down the back. Ryan Zunk there. Walton gets stuck in the inside wall. Vince Burns nowhere to go as that hole closed up. And I'm sure that's probably why there are a little bit more unhappy campers.
Boy, Alan Marshall
went
over.
Yeah, Marshall took a big hit there. For Cole Gadjadoris, his first win of the season, an incredible run for him. Just had this race on lockdown seemingly all night. Again, had taken the pole. Fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, winner of his heat race. And right now, Tony, I believe you are with Cole Gadjadoris.
Cole Gadjadoris, the class of the field all night long. Quick time in the hot lap session, quick time in the qualifying session. Winner of heat race number 1 and leader of most laps led here tonight at Bristol for the Dirt Derby. Congratulations on your first win of the season, sir.
Thanks, I appreciate it. This thing was on rails. It was a blast. The track was perfect.
Talk us through that green-white checker restart as Ryan Truex gave you just about all you could handle on that.
Yeah, he got a heck of a run on the bottom and through the middle. I got pretty worried. I bobbled coming off of 2. He was side by side with me, but luckily there was a little bit more grip up top, and I was able to get a run down the backstretch so he couldn't throw a slide job or anything.
Well, that was something we were talking about where I told Frank that by the end of this race, it's going to be beat the ever-loving daylights out of that right side bedside, beat it off the truck, and just buy the boys in the body shop some lunch tomorrow because they're going to have to replace it. But you did what you needed to do to hang on here tonight. Congratulations on doing so. This is going to come to the regular season end for the truck campaign. Next time we see the truck, we'll be in the playoffs. What are your thoughts going into next week with the Xfinity car?
Just be smart. I mean, I've struggled in the Xfinity cars, but just to be smart and be there at the end is the biggest thing. I mean, any little damage on what? Do you know what track it is? I'm pretty sure it's a 1.5 miles, but any little
it's Homestead, Miami.
Any little damage will kill you there. So just be disciplined. If you're running the wall, the minute you brush it, it could kill your day. So just be smart, be patient.
Very much so. But Cole, who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate your first win of the season with the rest of the team?
Got to thank my teammates for helping me out, and thank my brother Seth for spotting for me. He wrecked out early there, but he was keeping me calm and keep me updated on lap times and everything.
Absolutely. But again, Cole, congratulations. And we will see you next week in Homestead, Miami. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And unfortunately, Frank, we do not have our second place finisher, Ryan Truax, but we do have Bobby Grant joining us.
We do have our third place finisher here tonight. And Bobby, a very, very good run from you. Seemed as though you were at home on the dirt here tonight. Tony and I took a guess with Tony looking at your iRating. 800 iRating on dirt doesn't seem to suggest a guy who knows how to get around a dirt track. I would assume there's a dirt league somewhere that you participate in.
Yeah. We I grew up on dirt, so
there you go.
Running down Jacksonville Speedway, so I feel comfortable on dirt. Don't run a lot of dirt races in the points area because it's people all over the place. But I'm in several leagues that this is what we love. So
that's what we thought.
Yeah. So it was a good night. I got stuck on the bottom last few restarts and just I'm not willing to do those crash him up slide jobs. I've been trying to points my way into this playoffs. So try to keep things going.
How crazy was it on this racetrack? I mean, we're seeing a shot of turn 3 right now where it's just completely slicked over. How incredibly difficult was it to keep this truck under control on a track condition that was as bad as what it was tonight?
Yeah, I don't know if you could see it in my truck, but I felt like I was just weaving down the straightaway trying to collect it for the next turn. So it was absolutely crazy. It got like ice, and you could see Gadgetors up on the cushion, and he found it. That kid was getting it done. So hats off to him because he was able to get up there and make it work up top.
You've been hovering around the top 5 in the overall points pretty much the entire season here thus far. We head now to the penultimate round of the regular season and the final race in the regular season for the Xfinity cars at Homestead Miami Speedway next week. What are your thoughts going into Homestead?
It's a track I love because you really have to save tire there, especially in the Xfinity car, because I think it's the most fun to drive. It's so loose. You really have to have that throttle control. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to keeping the tires on it and hopefully not getting run over.
Anybody else you want to thank before we let you go?
My brother spots for me all the time. So shout out to the 904 back there.
Well, there you go. Bobby Grant, a solid run here today. Your best finish of the season. First time on the podium tonight. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
So, Tony, another one in the books, a wild night here at Bristol as we expected it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this track was interesting back the first time they tried this experiment by putting clay down. I'm glad to see that they've been able to get the dust a little more under control than the first time they tried this back in the early 90s. And, we saw some amazing racing throughout the field tonight, and as soon as that track started to slick off, you saw the cream rise to the top. Those guys that have dirt experience were able to find the grip level still and do what they needed to do to get those trucks to the front. The guys that don't have a ton of dirt experience, we saw them fade very quickly. We saw early on Justin Clapper and Scott Famosa and Mark McCrary were all very quick on a fresher track. As soon as this thing started to slick off, they started to have problems. So, and you heard Bobby Grant say that he was trying to not have to run the slider line and put two trucks in danger to try to make passes. And that's really what you need to do, is you need to make sure that you can finish this race in one piece. To quote the great Richard Petty, in order to finish first you must finish. And that's exactly what your top three did tonight. Cole Gadgetors, Ryan Truex, and Bobby Grant all finishing with a 0X.
3 fourth-place finishes for Bobby Grant this season. Now finally gets on the podium here after a wild, wild night here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll take a look now at the official results here for tonight's main show. Cole Gadgedoris again gets his first win of the season in that number 89. Ryan Truex comes up just short in second. Bobby Grant third. Roger Diebold and Chase Leahy round out the top 5. Tommy Allen Jr., James Sharik, J.D. Woodward, Dustin Stallings, and Jake Waltman round out the top 10. Anthony Burleson, the last car on the lead lap, and Ryan Zunk rounding out the top half of the field, Tony.
Justin Clapper coming home in 13th. Stephen Lachinsky, Scott Famosa rounding out your top 15. Mark McCrary, Alan Marshall, Stephen Sharik, Robert Walton, and Vince Burns rounding out your top 20. Greg McConey, Matt Garrett, Seth Gadgedoris, and Tyler Truex rounding out your A main field.
And again, Tyler Truex not starting this race, which is why he finished down where he did. So that will do it for us here tonight on the Esports Broadcasting Network, and what a night it was here from Bristol Motor Speedway. Coming up, our next race with a lot of our seasons coming to a close. We don't have a race for a little while. Coming up on Saturday night, will be round number 8 of the Super Late Model AI Series. That will be at Lucas Oil Raceway, the former Indianapolis Raceway Park, the former O'Reilly Raceway Park. That will be Saturday night. That race will premiere at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Double dip coming up on Sunday. It will be the ThunderClap Series back in action for the Casecracker 200, as well as the Quaker State 200 at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Sunday Night NASCAR Series, the first ever broadcast on ESPN from the newly configured Atlanta Motor Speedway, which came out to the iRacing service last Tuesday, so that will be entertaining. Coming up on Monday will be the CleanRacing.net Truck Series round number 2 from Nashville Super Speedway. That'll be an 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time start. And then a triple header on Tuesday. The Night Shift Racing League will run their penultimate round of the season at Watkins Glen International, an 11:50 a.m. Eastern Time start. Then the Ricmotech Truck Series, Ricmotech Cup Series, will run their season opener at Daytona, coming up at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday night. And then the Western States Racing League will run round number 2 from Dover Motor Speedway at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Another series that begins this week on Wednesday night will be the Ghost Xfinity Series, the inaugural season for the Ghost Xfinity Series. That will be at Daytona as well, a 7:20 p.m. Eastern Time start for that. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening, and we will see you all next week from Homestead. Tony and Dave Regal will be in the booth for that with my work schedule. So I will see you guys at Richmond in 2 weeks' time. Good night, everybody.